If you're currently planning your next trip to Europe, then you might have already figured out that finding the best place to stay can be a huge hurdle and is very time consuming. So accurate planning can be the difference of a make or break trip that either is remembered as a nightmare or a dream vacation. So stick around to the end and I'll be giving you a free packing list and the link to my tried and true travel guides, which will be coming out on July 17th in my Stan store. And this is going to ensure that your next vacation creates lasting memories and takes the most out of stress of the planning for you, okay? And it is packed with so many things. So now let's just jump into finding the best place to stay. Well, best is subjective 9 out of 10 times. These top 3 things are going to apply to you. Good pricing, good location, and overall quality. This is where you're going to have to decide which 2 are your top 2 priorities. Which ones are going to mean the most to you during your trip? If it's both good location and good quality, then odds are it's going to come with an expensive price tag. If the accommodation is both a good price and location, you might suffer in quality. And lastly, if it's a good price and a good quality, you're probably not in the most sought after area or location, maybe where all the local attractions and things to do are. So this is why it's so important to determine your top 2 priorities before you even begin your search. So now that you've got this figured out, we can actually start the search and get into the nitty gritty. How I personally find accommodations is usually through a myriad of things. We use Google search, booking.com, and with their discounts and filters, which are fabulous, and Airbnb, or you can use other third-party websites such as like hotels.com, and there's house sitting and house swapping sites. I won't really be getting into that during this video because those are a little bit more unique circumstances and situations. So this method allows you to find the best prices in the main areas with competitive pricing. But I usually always book directly through the accommodation, and I'm going to suggest that you do too. The only time that I do not book directly is if like randomly booking.com offers an insane discount through my Genius rewards because I've stayed so many times within a set time period, or if I'm booking an apartment for Airbnb, probably is going to work best for larger families or groups. So the first thing I do is I type in my destination dates or my flexible weeks and months at the amount of people going, okay, with the ages, because certain ages are sometimes free or at a discount, like half off of an adult. So then I'm going to also add the amount of rooms that I want. So once all these options pop up, usually on the left side, you're going to go to the filter section. That's going to be on the side. And I always look and click for the free cancellation and the very good 8+ star rating for the reviews. And then I'm going to clear through any properties that might have issues, bad staffing, right? Mold, property damages. It's pretty much going to filter all those out because they're probably not going to be rated with an 8+ rating. So we have learned this the hard way to also always book with free cancellation because life happens and so do unexpected circumstances. And the odds are if you already book with free cancellation, you're not going to need it. But if you do not, you probably or might regret it and wish that you had. So if you're in the United States, you can then filter out through your star ratings. But if you're looking at other continents, specifically in Europe, the star system works entirely differently than what we're used to. And it reflects the amount of amenities that the accommodation has or is offering. So for me, I don't suggest this filter if you're looking through Europe, but it's completely up to you. So another filter option is to sort through the results by accommodation type. So you have a hotel, apartment, or a hostel. And a hostel is really going to be used if you're like solo traveling, backpack traveling, and it's like 1 or 2 or 3 people, small group, maybe college age or right after college, young in your 20s. Us families in our 30s and 40s, we probably aren't going to be looking for a hostel in this time in our life. So, but they're very clean and reputable in Europe if that works for your party type. So now that you have all of your preferred options, I usually select them to be viewed from the least expensive to the most and click on the ones I like, which will usually open up in a new tab, or you can just right click on it and click new tab and it'll pop open. So I do this so that at the end, I can come back to all of my options that I initially liked and can then narrow them down more quickly. I usually scroll through them and there's going to be the insanely expensive options, which I don't want to blow my budget just on one accommodation, right? Because you're not going to spend that much time. You're at your vacation spot to enjoy and be out, not to sit in your hotel room. So it doesn't make sense to buy a extremely lavish apartment unless it's a unique situation. So Now, this works for both Booking.com and Airbnb since both platforms have similar search options and tools. Now, once I have my maybe top 10, maybe 15 choices, I search through them on Google and read through the reviews entirely. Not just the average score, but go into the reviews, actually go into the reviews and sort them by the most recent and look at the reviews for at least the past year, maybe 2 years, depending, which usually is going to narrow quite a few more places off your list pretty easily. Especially if multiple reviews are mentioning the same negative concern, I would probably believe that and nix that one real quick. So now that you've got an even smaller list, it's safe to say that any option that you're going to pick is probably going to be a good accommodation. I usually then go back and specifically check the location with the area that I really want to be in and pick one of the ones that is going to be the closest to the activities and the attractions that I really want to see. So now that you have your hotel picked out, you can go to the direct site for that accommodation and make sure that you're getting the best price, because a lot of times if you book directly on their site, they're going to give you a promo code discount, or you can sometimes get connecting rooms directly on the site that you can't get on third-party sites. So you can see now that if you can get a cheaper price or possibly a free breakfast by booking directly. So bonus tip, book with your travel credit card, okay? Before a multitude of reasons, right? You're going to get free airline points, possibly flying points or cashback rewards, and your travel is going to be covered because you booked it through a credit card. So if something happens, you're probably going to get your money back than if you used a debit card or paid cash, okay? So also the key with this is, even though you're paying with a credit card to get the points, you pay it right back off. You don't let that money sit there and get into debt. You just pay it right back off. Or if it's a chain hotel, look for their loyalty programs and book through that with your credit cards or your travel portals for extra discounts, because you can sometimes actually go back and get a travel reimbursement through your travel card. So thank you so much for watching. And if you're wondering about the packing checklist, check the links in the details section and check out my travel itineraries that have just getting released on the 17th of July in the Stand store. It's connected to the YouTube account. You can also find it in the link below. And if you enjoy travel content and following our journey as an expat, please subscribe and follow along on our journey. Bye.